Hello, World of Tank Blitzers. It's Littlefinger. Hey, it's Thursday, December 28th. Yes, a day early for a store review, but I didn't know if I was going to get the opportunity to do a video tomorrow. Also, wanted to spend a minute and talk about the garage party event going on and my experience with it because, yeah, it's a commitment for sure. But as you can see, I've pulled the Object 452K out of this event, Tier 9 Soviet heavy tank, haven't even played it yet, and the British light tank, the FV1066. This is a super fun tank. I'm really enjoying this one. And those aren't even the two main tanks in this event. Before we get to that, wanted to just mention that you may have some gold sitting in your storage. Here under the other tab, I've got an Icy Surprise, which I can exchange for 2024 gold. I'm assuming that you get this if anyone spent any gold on or spent any money on the game, because I went into my free account and I did not have that when I hadn't spent any money on the game. Also, if you go into certificates, there's some other places here that may have gold. I found one for 5,000, some harvest thing or other. This one here is 400 gold. So just check that out. You might have some gold laying around. All right, so before we get to the store, let's talk about the garage party event. So really what I was aiming for was to get this, the PR68, which I'll show you here. This just is like a very unique tank here with such sloped frontal armor. I've seen a few of them. And you know, if you can hide anything below here, it's really difficult to look at anywhere to pen this tank. So I thought that might be kind of unique. There's also the ST62 on the other side here. And each one of these are 300 disco balls, okay? And so you get disco balls by buying and opening this party box. Now, several things I wanted to point out here. Yeah, there's some good tanks in here for sure. But when we look at the percentage drop, 0.25 for all of these tanks with the FV1066 at 1%. Now I pulled the FV out of this tank at 1%. So I'm thinking that I am extremely lucky here with this. You're also going to get gold out of the crates. But if you look at the percentages here, 750 is 85%, 1500 is 10%. That's 95% is either going to be one of these two. So getting higher amounts of gold out of it is going to be pretty rare. And then also, as we move down, the other big thing to pull out of this box is the Gala key. And that's only a 3% chance, and that gives you automatically ability to open up the other box on the right. Now there are charms. You're going to 100% get a charm. So for every 10 of these, you open up the Gala key. All right. So you're asking, well, how many have I done so far? I have purchased 20 of these boxes already. Quick tip. If you go onto the website, you can get 10 for $25. So I'm at about, $50 in on this event already. All right, so I think what I really just wanted to do here is to go to my notifications and quickly scroll down to the bottom because, this was the first thing that I did today was purchase 10 additional boxes. And so I wanted to just show you how this worked out. So you can see 1,500 of gold from the first one and 5 disco balls, right? And then the next one, 5 disco balls, 750, 750, 10 disco balls. So like I was saying, 5 to 10 disco balls each. And when you're trying to get to 300, it's going to take a long time, which is why I'm saying this is a major commitment. 750, 750, 750, 5, right? So you're getting the idea here. So after I opened up 10 of them, then I automatically got the Gala key. All right, so I went ahead and immediately went in and opened the Gala party box. Now this is an example of a really bad draw on the Gala party box. I only got 10 disco balls, which was the actual lowest amount you can get. and 1,000 gold, which is probably the lowest gold that you can get out of it as well. However, I still had one more party box to open, and as you can see, I pulled another Gala key out of it. So I've got an open now, which equates to my third Gala key. And I opened that and I got the object 452 and 100 disco balls. So that's really put me in a good position. But if I hadn't have lucked out on this 3% chance of getting this Gala key, I wouldn't have ended up with this and the 100 disco balls, okay? So then I went in and I opened all of the gold charms. And the thing with the gold charms is I think after every 10 of them, I opened the collect them all containers and they give you the gold charms, and after 10 of them you get 1,000 gold. So that's where that 1,000 gold comes from. But you can see from the collect them all containers, you're going to get primarily free XP, 28,000 there, 200, 2,300, etc., etc. And so that's kind of where I'm now finishing up with 285 of these disco balls. So I'm kind of committed to the point now where I only need 15 more, which at a minimum is going to be 3 more of these until I can get that tank. So, I'll have to go ahead and, I feel kind of obligated at this point that I'll have to do that. So let's jump in and get into the store. And hopefully you guys got a better feel for, just the commitment level that's going to be required for that event. All right, I don't know why it's not automatically scrolling to the top there. That's annoying. But anyway, still got time on your gold boxes. And remember, I spent the 20,000 one here on the snow globe event. And now, as you can see, sitting at 146,000 gold, I'm really wishing that I hadn't spent that and just used the gold that I had already. We talked about Pride of Nation last week. I like this in the sense that you are guaranteed 6 tanks. And I know the price is a little bit steep. And as I mentioned last week, there is that variable here of getting from a tier 7 to a tier 10. So it's hard to say exactly what you're going to get out of these. Each one kind of has that. This one actually goes down to tier 6 to tier 10. So you are guaranteed 6 tanks. I like that for, 5,000 gold each, but maybe more close to 6,000 gold each. If you pull one of those tier 9, tier 10s, you're going to be pretty happy. If you end up with all 5 or 6 or 7 tiers, you're not going to be so happy. But it's a nice way there to guarantee yourself 6 tanks. The Alpha Predator draw here, I'm sure that a lot of you guys are going to fall sucker to this one. A guaranteed tier 10 tank, but guys, please look at the percentage. Alpha Predator certificate 0.07%. That's 0 essentially. You really have to drop gold and get all of these other ones off the table. And then if you look here, what they're doing, and this is relatively new, you've got 3, 2, 3, 3, 2, 2. So it's going to take you a long time to get all of these other ones off the list. And you're going to drop significant amount of gold in order to get to that certificate. And again, it's one of those very similar to this garage party event where it's like you almost feel obligated just to keep on going because you've spent so much gold already. All right, so here are the party box keys. And big thing that I wanted to point out is they are a little bit cheaper if you go through Wargaming's website. I'll put the link into the description of this video. So one key on their website is $3 instead of $3.50. The 10 key bundle, as I said, is $25 on their website, not $30. And the 5 keys is $15, not $16. So you can save a few dollars there if you just go through their website. This is kind of unique here. in the sense that you're either guaranteed with these different containers 20% chance at the tank or 1,500 gold. 20% drop chance, 1,000 gold on the Annihilator. 907, 20% drop, 5,000 gold. Each one of these has 20%, 750 gold on the Britannia. The TL7 120, 1750 gold or 20% drop chance. So, you know, you're not quite guaranteed a tank out of this with 5 containers of 20% drop chance. I didn't do the math on it, but I would imagine it's probably somewhere like 30% chance. So 1 out of 3 of you will get a tank. But what I found interesting with this is each one of these collections here has different tanks in it. So, you know, it may be worth the gamble for you depending upon what's already in your garage and what's not. You know, you will end up with some gold, but it's not going to be near as much gold as what you would get just by buying it straight up from those gold boxes at the top of the list here. I want to talk about the Caro in just a second, so we'll skip over that. As you can see, here's another collection here with less containers in it. Let's talk about the tier 8 guaranteed 2,500. You know, I don't see this as too bad of a deal. There are a lot of these tier 8 tanks. Some are really good. You know, Progetto, the Tornvang, the Brask, you know, but then you're going to get into some tanks that you might not be too happy with. STG. So just keep that in mind. But I think if you're fairly new to the game, and oh my God, guys, I don't know if you guys go in and look at, you know, people on your team, people on the other team after battles, but I'm seeing I've got people in my games with less than 500 battles, and, you know, shouldn't happen. Anyway, that's a tangent for another day, obviously. So let's just scroll down and talk tanks. I don't think there's a whole lot here to mention, but you know, while we're here, let's talk about it. I did want to talk about the Caro 45T. 35,000 gold is insane. Super high price. 4 shell autoloader, I believe. Yeah, 4 shells. Here's your shell reload time. So you really just want to stay here on this shell number 4 and not unload the full clip, because you're going to wait for 22 seconds for that one. So yeah, full reserve shell mechanism here. So really, at most, it's a 3 shell. You just never want to use that one unless you absolutely have to get a kill or get yourself out of trouble or something. You know, I think this must be the first time that we've seen it just straight up for gold, because 35,000 is pretty high up. They're selling it for 30,000 by itself without the camo or the quest. But what I wanted to point out with this, that if anyone does decide to do it, you know, there is a small chance here of getting some gold back from the mystery box. So essentially, you know, that might help cover the cost of the premium camo that you're essentially paying for here. That's primarily the difference. But what I see as the downfall to this bundle is, yeah, it's nice to get these 25 5X, and you really want to use these on the tech tree tanks. So you're going to have to quickly play 25 battles on tanks that you're grinding in order to get the most value out of this. And then you're going to have to come back and try to win 35 battles in this tank within 7 days in order to fulfill this quest, which gets you 3 awesome containers. And let's just take a look at what's inside. It'll be kind of ironic if you drop that. But I would imagine that these percentages are extremely low. Yeah, they are extremely low. So collect them all containers, 16% black box out of it. So, you know, you're going to get some gold and maybe a black box or something. So, so it's definitely a quest that you want to fulfill in those 7 days. Again, helping you to justify probably that additional 5,000 gold. Anyway, moving on, Fire and Ice. We've seen this bundle time and time again. As I've mentioned before, the Glacial is a solid tank. It's not overpowered in any way, but it does play very similar to a lot of other tier 8 heavy tanks. And the Blaze is a fun little tier 7 tank destroyer with a big alpha gun on it. Not a big fan of the VK. We talked about that last week, so I'm going to skip over it. I think the Panther got added right after I finished my review, so I didn't talk about this last week. It's a capable tank. As you can see from here, you can hide basically most of your hull and just show your turret. It's got a very narrow turret to hit. You know, it's got that German play style with a super accurate, fast firing gun. You know, you can do very well in this tank as long as you can position yourself on the battlefield quite nicely. So for 5,000 for a tier 8, it's not a bad price. We've got two comrades here. The T-2020 kind of started off as a rough tank. Nobody liked it. It got some armor increases, and I've kind of rather enjoyed it. Pike nose, slightly different. You know, with a tank like this, you want to kind of keep it angled on. The more that you angle your tank this way to your opponent, the easier it is for them to pen through this side of the hull. So interesting thing is you really want to keep this pointed straight at them and maximize that sloped armor. To me, it doesn't have bad mobility. The gun's okay. Again, it's one of those tanks very similar to a lot that's out there. And then the Mod 1 is a little bit unique, I think, in the sense that it's more heavily armored medium, so it's going to play slower. It doesn't get us around as well, but it's a bit of a bully against other mediums and lights due to its increased armor. So you can be a little bit more aggressive in that regard. So really an interesting bundle there for $24. Let's just quickly go to the gold section and see what that would equate to. You know, so somewhere about 15,000 gold. So it's not a great deal. You know, it does come with some 5x and all of these boosters. Yeah, I mean, it's just an average deal. Nothing spectacular. So guys, that's going to wrap up the store review for this week. I do want to wish everyone a Merry New Year, Happy New Year, and of course, have fun out there. Stay safe, get educated, not fingered. Littlefinger out.